Great. Now let us start with understanding the difference between storytelling when we are doing campaigns versus transactional advertising. Our goal is to help you understand how narrative campaigns influence purchase intention and buying behavior differently from feature price transactional ads. Let me begin with two ad lines. You need to hear very carefully. Flat 30% off, buy now. Versus a father saves very quietly for years to gift his daughter her first dream, a car. Both the ads can sell, but they work very differently. The first ad, where I'm talking about 30% off, pushes a transaction. Buy now, buy now, buy now. The second one builds a relationship. Today, we will examine in this particular video the difference between campaign storytelling and transactional advertising. Both are important, but both are very different. And how each of this affect the purchase intention of the customer and his own buying behavior. This video is not about which process is better, but it is about to know when and why each of this starts working in the market. Let us start with defining what is transactional advertising. Transactional advertising is designed for immediate action. That means the customer has to immediately rush to the store to buy the product. It focuses on, obviously, price of the product, the offer 30% off, the features of the product, the urgency. Maybe the offer is open just for 48 hours. And the availability of the product in particular stores. The trigger is limited time. But it answers one main question. Why should I buy now? Right? The customer may not need a TV, but we position it like that. There is actually little or no character or no journey or no transformation. This format is common in retail promotions, e-commerce sales, seasonal offers, performance marketing banners, local store advertising probably, because transactional ads reduce decision friction. They do not build long-term memory strongly, but they can drive very quick conversions. Transactional ads compress decision time, right? So we hear about some offer and we rush to buy. The biggest example in the Indian diaspora is the Big Billion Days, festival sale ads, right? Flipkart and Amazon compete with each other during the festival season. What do their ads focus on? Their ads focus on multiple deals, countdown to the timeline, savings that we can do while we purchase, the myriad product range, the urgency to go and buy, the narrative depth, the story is very, very, very minimal, but the energy is very, very, very high. What does the customer understand out of this? this is the right time to buy. And it triggers a price-led purchase intention. And it encourages the customer to keep on adding into his basket. Correct? He does not postpone buying anything for tomorrow because right now he is getting an offer. Now this is what is called as conversion storytelling. Not identity building at all, right? But sales has to roll, sales has to roll. The focus is on sales. The focus is not on brand building.
नया फोन, कवर, इतनी महंगी ड्रेस, इंक्रीमेंट?
नहीं, डील मिली बिग बिलियन डेज पे।
कुछ भी। हाय, मैं अंदर मिलती हूँ।
Ma'am, VIP this way. Please come.
Zagamaga jackpot, where's the mascot? धड़कन dancing to किस्मत का catcon. किसे लगा झटका, किसे shock, किसे के लिए long shot. Won that coin toss and saw that mic drop. Killer Raymond, the black dot deadly. Stars in my eyes and background medley. लक लगा हाथ मेरे गस्सामदा ओना. जहाँ हाथ लगा सोना.
AV plus AV to AV.
Kata.
But nahi. Life is a party and my body is a nightclub.
Last time you said your body was a stadium.
Oh, did I?
Papa.
My child, open the window of your heart and let the light enter your soul.
Yeah, let's go.
ये इस पार्टी में कैसे?
होगी किसी की बेटी?
कपूर,
खान,
चोपड़ा,
मल्होत्रा,
अन्ना,
सिन्हा, बस्सी। आप यहाँ ऐसे?
किसी को बताना मत, मेरा शो का नाम है।
बस कर बस्सी, मालूम है।
लाइक शेयर
सब्सक्राइब।
The most noble work is to serve others.
भाई बच्ची है, इसके बाद तो ऐड हम भी बना लेंगे।
सर ये फ्लिपकार्ट का ऐड चल रहा है।
क्या?
Zagamaga jackpot, where's the mascot? धड़कन dancing to किस्मत का catcon. I'ma need a snapshot, perhaps on that backdrop, that high note that dance up. I'ma need a little bit of Mac drop in a minute. I'ma take time to snap out in a minute. Billion घंटी बजी, दिल ने बोला.
मैं तो बस कुछ भी
Jumping in and out of time, चले कुछ भी. Getting lucky, feeling fine, करे कुछ भी. Celebration on my mind.
पार्टी है कि डांस कंपटीशन?
मैम बहुत अच्छा नाचती है। आप मुंबई आ सकते हो।
अरे हम मुंबई में ही हैं।
या जुगाड़ निकले कुछ भी. I'm kinda rolling with the times, मैंने कुछ भी. Desk के साथ छोड़ू डायरी के कुछ भी. Put the मस्ती in the pie, खाते कुछ भी. पके दो में लगे fire, बटे कुछ भी. Never running out of lines, सीधा कुछ भी. कुछ भी हो सकता है कुछ भी.
Game is 2AV. Lift.
बिगेस्ट ब्रांड्स बिगेस्ट डील्स फ्लिपकार्ट बिग बिलियन डेज यहाँ कुछ भी हो सकता है।
Now if I want to define campaign storytelling, it is very different. It builds a narrative across time, not just a message in a moment. It does not have any time triggers, but it is played over a long period of time. A campaign narrative, it will have characters, it will have emotion, it is out there to solve a conflict, it brings in a resolution, it builds belief, it creates an identity signal, and it answers a very different question. Why should this brand matter to me? The customer thinks about this. The campaign storytelling increases brand trust. Do I trust the brand Tata? Do I trust Infosys? Do I trust Nike? Brand trust. It gives us an emotional association. It has a huge recall value. And what does it build? It builds preference. I prefer Nike over butter. And the willingness to pay a premium. It works very slowly. But then when it starts working, it just multiplies very fast. So remember, transactional ads trigger buying, whereas story campaigns shape choosing. What does the customer choose? Let's take a brand, Asian Paints. हर घर कुछ कहता है. This was a long running campaign showing homes as memory spaces. It never spoke about the quality of Asian Paints. It did not speak about discounts. It only spoke about the stories of families in different life stages. The emotion used was belonging and nostalgia. What did the customer understand? They understood this brand understands my life's moments. It increased the brand preference when taking a decision. It reduced brand switching. It supported premium positioning of Asian Paints in the customer's mind. Customers enter a store are already biased towards buying the brand. That is the advantage of a narrative storytelling. And Asian Paints did it beautifully. Have a look at the ads.
हर घर चुपचाप से ये कहता है कि अंदर इसमें कौन रहता है. कौन यहाँ दीवारों को अपना टच देता है. कौन रसोई में ही ऑफिस बना लेता है. कौन यहाँ पेट्स को खुद के नाम से बुलाता है.
आ गया जी गरम गरम पराठा.
कौन मेहमानों को रिश्तेदार की तरह खिलाता है. कौन यहाँ उल्टी नाव चलाता है. कौन वक्त के साथ बदलाव लाता है पर यादों को नहीं भुलाता है. हर घर चुपचाप से ये कहता है कि अंदर इसमें कौन रहता है. एशियन पेंट्स, क्योंकि हर घर कुछ कहता है.
Let me now go to one of the most preferred brands of the world, Apple. Apple ran a campaign, if you all remember, shot on iPhone. Apple turned the users into storytellers. They didn't bring in any models, no celebrities, nothing. Users started to talk the stories of Apple. Real photos, real creators, real stories. The product proof was embedded in the human creativity because customers were speaking. The emotion used was simple, pride and empowerment. What did the customers actually take with them? This device makes me capable. We are talking about an iPhone. The entire behavioral impact revolved around strengthening perceived product superiority. It suddenly started building a creator identity association. Remember real stories, real users. So there was an identity association. It supported repeat purchase and suddenly Apple became an ecosystem loyalty. What does this talk about? It talks about participative storytelling, not persuasive. There is no feature list. There is no need for any proof. The user himself started to talk about Apple iPhones. Have a look at one of these ads.
Welcome to Everyday Experiments, Full Bloom. Let's celebrate spring.
Stop motion is a technique where you take a series of photos to create a cool animation.
Let's make a stop-motion animation with these carnations I picked up at the market. We take a sequence of photos, shifting our subjects a bit each time to make it look like they are moving. We can make the flowers grow, split, we can even turn them into fruits and veggies before turning them back into flowers. Next, we'll experiment with the slow-mo feature, which slows down your film and gives moving objects a dreamlike quality.
We like to try moving things in a few different ways and see what we end up with. For this experiment, we used a highlighter to color our water. When the flowers soaked it up, we found it gave them a fluorescent glow under UV light.
We just played around with these flowers, hanging and swinging them in a few different ways, just to see what we get back. To give a sense of depth, we put pressed flowers onto different layers of glass panes and move the camera slowly over them.
Water takes on many interesting shapes as it moves, but you can't really see it in real time. With slow-mo, you can capture every last detail.
To create your own time-lapse, set up a shot with flowers, water, and a lamp. We shot these plants for just about 8 hours overnight. How much the flowers blossom might really surprise you, and that's the fun with experiments.
There is an emotional mechanism difference. Remember, we were talking about emotional engines. Emotional engines had a difference when transactional ads use urgency emotions. What is their emotional engine at that point of time? It is scarcity, fear of missing out, deal excitement. Campaign storytelling uses a very different set of emotions. What are the set of emotions campaign storytelling uses? Belonging, pride, trust, hope, care, courage, correct? Very different kind of emotions. Transactional urgency emotions. Campaign are anchoring loyalty emotions. Both of them are valid, but under different context, but requires a different outcome. Both are used depending upon what is the outcome that the brand wants. My personal view is brands that rely only on transactional messaging slowly becomes a commodity, right? But those who create an identity have or brand space in our minds. Just Do It from Nike is perhaps one of the longest running campaigns. Nike's campaign storytelling spans decades. They have been talking, as we have already seen, about athlete struggles, about their losing and coming back, about the discipline in an athlete's life, resilience and courage in an athlete's life. And who is enabling them? Nike. The emotional engine utilized is determination and resilience. This brand stands for inner strength. What was the behavioral impact globally? It built emotional loyalty. It supported price premium. It encouraged brand advocacy. And it extended much, much beyond product category. Nike can sell apparel, apps, equipment, anything, because this valuable story is portable. They can simply pick it up from shoes and take it to somewhere else if tomorrow they want to start some other category of products.
تبين تلعبين؟ يلا. تبين تلعبين؟ يلا.
On the other hand, transactional ads, for example, electronics retail price ads. Local electronics companies, how do they sell their products, yet create a beautiful business model? They focus on lowest price, exchange offer, EMIs, stock clearance. What does all these things mean to the customer? I can have a good deal today, right? And the behavior obviously drives footfall. But somewhere we then do not differentiate between one brand and the other. The customers are only seeking a deal, right? Customers return only when the offer seems valuable to them, not the brand, not the features, but it is just that offer, correct? Now that is very, very far away from creating a brand identity. Question is, when should I use transactional campaign and when should I use advertising campaigns? Transactional advertising or transactional campaigns are used, remember, when the inventory has to move, sale has to happen. Price is the key driver there because we are now giving deals, we are giving offs. Category is a very low involvement. Don't worry about the category, don't worry about the brand. Entire competition is price led. Very short term spikes, right? Suddenly 3 days, lots of products are selling and there is a lot of money. Whereas in a campaign, it requires to build the brand's equity. It requires to build positioning. It requires to enter a premium segment. It has to drive loyalty. It has to create differentiation. Best practice is not either or. Which campaign should run when? No. It cannot be either or, but it has to be a layered strategy. Story builds a demand, but transaction captures sales. So remember, both have to be played, both have to be used at different times in a different format. Transactional ads close the sale, which keeps the revenue engine running, but the story campaigns opens up the doors of relationship. One of them answers, why now, the transactional one. The other answers, why us? Why do you believe in us? Strong brands, dear learners, do both, but in the right order and in the right proportion. Correct? No brand would like to do only transactional and nothing to do with campaign. It cannot happen like that. I would ask you a question. Think about a brand that you have recently purchased. What drove you to buy that brand? Why did you take that decision? Was it a story? Was it a brand? Or was it the offer? Think. You purchased it. What drove you to buy that particular brand? If you can think it for yourself, you can just do it. You can understand the difference between transactional advertisements and campaign advertisements. Campaign advertisements reach our heart. Transactional advertisements push us to the shop to buy the product. Correct? Both are to be used by a brand to stay relative in the market. Till we meet in the next video.